And then I've asked previously about shifting profits offshore. So last time was Pfizer. They make an operating profit ratio of 7% over 1.4 billion, I think it is. And since that last set of estimates, we now find out Facebook, who has 1.34 billion in revenue, only declared a profit of $47 million here in Australia. So their operating profit ratio was 5%, when their worldwide operating profit was 40%. Now, in the ThinCap provisions, you have a worldwide gearing ratio whereby you limit the amount of debt that an Australian subsidiary of a foreign multinational, you don't allow them to load up with too much debt, which is a very good idea. Do you think you should do the same with operating profit ratios? So say, for example, if Facebook has a operating worldwide profit ratio of 40%, and then, so i.e. they're only paying 60 cents in the dollar in costs, but here in Australia they're loading up with 95 cents in the dollar, that we could look at having an operating profit ratio to prevent profits being shifted offshore?
So, Senator, I might talk a bit about it from an administration perspective, even though you have cast the question as a policy question.
Yeah.
So under the international framework at the moment, Australia gets to tax the activities which occur in Australia. We don't get to tax the parts of the value chain which are offshore.
Yeah.
And so for let's say a multinational digital company with a lot of research and development and a lot of the work being done offshore, we don't get to tax the profit attributable to that. We get to tax the profit attributable to what people do in Australia. That is supported by the multinational anti-avoidance law, which was brought in to stop people artificially avoiding having a permanent establishment in Australia, which is the basis of taxation under the current framework. Australia, if you think about the distribution profit of an importer of, let's say, pharmaceuticals or, let's say, computer equipment, we get to tax the distribution profit, not the research and development, not the manufacturing profit. We've set out some practical compliance guidelines which are public, which set out where our expectations are for a normal importer of such services. Concurrently, there is a discussion going on at the OECD around...
I'm sorry, Mr Hirshhorn, I'm going to have to ask you to conclude your answer so I can go to Senator Roberts.
Yeah. So, Senator, I would just say under the current framework we get to tax what is done here, and the current regime, the results that we get in terms of the profits we tax here are significantly higher than those achieved in many other jurisdictions.
Just
Senator,
very quickly,
Senator Roberts.
Can I just very quickly, that 1.34 billion in revenue, is that paid here to Australia?
So, Senator, I can't really comment on individual companies.
Senator Roberts.
Authorised G. Rennick, LNP Chermside.